Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family. We've discussed the Ballon d'Or so many times on this channel. As well know, my opinion was firm. After the Champions League victory by Paris Saint-Germain, I was like, it's done. But in today's video, we're going to be looking at the entire Ballon d'Or storyline from around March until at the moment. So I found this website, it's called Polymarket, and usually they do like crypto, trading, all of that. But they also have betted on the Ballon d'Or winner 2025. And as you can see, Ousmane Dembele, huge lead, 66.8%. Lmaine Yamal, second, 17.1%. Vitinha, 5.7%. And Raphinha, 2.8%. We can also, I believe, look at other players. For example, Mohamed Salah. Remove Raphinha, they will have Mohamed Salah, and he's basically at 2.6%. And you see, here's where the percentage comes in. So at the moment, Raphinha, this is March 12th. So this is around when Paris Saint-Germain knocked out Liverpool. And as you can see, Salah had 43% at that time. Let me actually remove Vitinha because he came on later on. Let's have Raphinha. You see, bomb. So basically right here, wow, Raphinha was, or I don't want to touch the mouse. As you can see, Raphinha was quite low. Salah, extremely high. How much was Salah had? Salah was 43%, Raphinha was 12.5%. And then as soon as Salah got knocked out, Barca obviously qualified. Raphinha went up. That was the Benfica tie? I think so, yeah. That was the Benfica tie. Raphinha obviously was good in that second leg. I think he got like 2 goals, 1 assist. So he obviously went up and Salah went down. And Dembele, as you can see, he didn't get the biggest push. Dembele got pushed, but not the biggest when we beat Liverpool. I want to see if like Donnarumma, they also have Donnarumma on this website. I want to see, did Donna get like some huge boost? No. So they've only been calculating Donna since May 9th. So like straight after we went through versus Arsenal, that's when Donna went into it. Because I thought maybe it started over there. But if we go back to, the most notable ones are Yamal and Dembele. Those are the ones we can take a look at. And as you can see, so Paris Saint-Germain go through versus Liverpool. Barca go through versus Benfica. Dembele and Lmaine Yamal are both on around 6%. And as you can see, they're tight. They're extremely close to each other the entire way. Ups and downs here. I don't know why Yamal went down here. Maybe this was our Villa tie, but Yamal was also in the Dortmund tie. Yeah. And there we have the exit. And as you can see, Lmaine Yamal, according to this, the bettors on Polymarket, Lmaine Yamal, as you can see, he was leading over Ousmane Dembele when it came. This is basically the Inter tie. Those two, this up here, that's basically the Inter tie. And then bam, Lmaine Yamal gets knocked out. Dembele, obviously we go through versus Arsenal. And then once again, obviously this was Lmaine Yamal when he was, they played obviously the La Liga game versus Real Madrid. And then he had that Espanyol banger and Real Valladolid banger. It was something like that. It was something like 2 bangers or something. And then they came close to each other and bam, Dembele wins UCL award. And as you can see, even before Dembele wins UCL award, because Dembele went up again here, right before the Champions League final. Maybe because, you know, that became relevant once again. And as you can see, as soon as Dembele lifted the Champions League, it went from 40% to Dembele, 30% to Lmaine Yamal, very tight. Dembele, 70%, Lmaine Yamal, 15.7%. And then look at this. This is the Nations League. Nations League, Dembele went all down to 51% and Lmaine Yamal went all the way up to 34%. Just because of that one game. Because Dembele went down from it, Lmaine Yamal went up from it. And then bam. As soon as that happened, Dembele went up again and Lmaine Yamal went down. When obviously Spain got knocked out versus Portugal. And then we go to here. 66.8% for Ousmane Dembele, 17.1% for Lmaine Yamal. And these are also the rankings they have. So they have Dembele 67% at the moment, Lmaine Yamal 17%, Vitinha 6%. Vitinha pushing up really high here. Raphinha third, 3% already dropping. Salah 3%, Kylian Mbappe 2%, Donnarumma 1%, Pedri 1%, Lautaro. And then all of these are below 1%. You got Vinny, Nuno, Ashraf. Basically, these don't matter and so on. But Vitinha really high up. Raphinha dropping down a bit. Salah still here. I don't really understand how he's still there. But he's probably going to get like a 7th, 8th spot, I believe. And then, obviously, depending on what happens in the Club World Cup, some more changes could happen. But this is really interesting to look at. Obviously, the Ballon d'Or will be held on the 22nd of September. So there's still a long way to go. But Raphinha, when you look at him, bottom. Whoa, you see that? That's really interesting. That's really interesting. Because as you can see, the dip right there from Raphinha. Raphinha was at 33% and went down to 14%. And every time we see a dip, it's because, like here, for example, this dip, Dembele lost versus Spain in the Nations League. We can see this dip right here. Lmaine Yamal loses versus Inter Milan. No, that was the Champions League final. Obviously, Dembele winning it. And then, obviously, Yamal went down here because Barca went through. Barca got knocked out. So as you can see, both Yamal and Raphinha, all of their chances died out when they got knocked out. But Yamal, because he finished off that, and he has the PR as well. It's also the PR. Basically, Raphinha's season is just forgotten now, sitting at 2.8% of winning the Ballon d'Or. But what happened is right here, there were similar numbers. Like Raphinha was leading majority of the time. Then Lmaine Yamal caught up in that around Inter game. Both went down together. And then Yamal managed to get up in the La Liga game and the El Clasico game and then the La Liga games after. And then obviously had the Nations League. But Raphinha is basically completely dead. Salah, we've already seen. As soon as he got knocked out, it was basically over. He's had some small ups and downs. Maybe when Liverpool finally won the Premier League and so on. Take a look at Vitinha, this new... Wait. Is that Vitinha? Wait, what? I just want to see Vitinha. Okay, so you see, Vitinha basically started here, June 6th. So that was like first Nations League game. They beat Germany. And then bam, once again. Then obviously when they won the Nations League versus Spain, he went up and solid 7%. Imagine Vitinha ahead of Raphinha. And that just shows how you end the season is obviously the most important thing. You have to understand that majority of football fans, football supporters, football spectators do not watch majority of the games. I'm someone that watches obviously every single Paris Saint-Germain game live. I've been here for every single Paris Saint-Germain game. And then I watch some games here and there, big Champions League games especially. And you have to think, majority of the people are casuals in the sport, in the sense they don't watch all the games and so on. But the games they do watch is the big games towards the end of the season when titles are, you know, when the games are meant to be played for titles and so on. And it's clear that those games are the most valued. Raphinha did so much in the Champions League group stage, in La Liga in the beginning of the season as well, Pedri as well. But because, you know, they weren't the best versus Inter Milan, they're forgotten about. Because they didn't have a potential cheeky Nations League that could brought them up, they're out of the race. I actually want to see Pedri. Let me see Pedri. Pedri was really never really that high. It was Raphinha and Yamal were always ahead of Pedri, at least from the 7th of March. It's sad that I can't go back more, but yeah. Any more to look at? But yeah, so basically they're casuals and they value the big games the most, the trophies and so on. As you can see, Dembele, that Champions League changed so much, and then when his only competitor, Lmaine Yamal, who had that Nations League, went through obviously versus France, versus Dembele, and then he went out. And I see this staying like this. Obviously, the potential competitor that I was predicting even from before is Kylian Mbappe. Mbappe has obviously been out with like disease, I guess. And as you can see, Mbappe, 25%. That makes absolutely zero sense. That was like straight after that City tie. That's the PR that Mbappe had. And then here, yeah, Arsenal defeats Real Madrid. And then bam, Mbappe goes back to irrelevancy. Now we're sitting at 1.8. Obviously, if he comes back, scores a couple of goals, especially in the knockout stage of the Club World Cup, all of this could change. But I don't think he can do that much. I mean, he probably wanted to stop handing the group a bit. But Mbappe could manage to sneak himself into the top 3. He's currently, what, 6th? He could potentially sneak himself into the top 3. We'll have to wait and see. But really interesting looking at this graph because a lot of it makes sense. For me, the only scary thing looking at is how close Yamal was coming from just that Nations League game. Imagine if he won the final. Imagine if he had a great performance, knocking out that great Portugal side. How close would it have been then? Obviously, Dembele has the Club World Cup, which was always like a safety net for me. Like, even if the worst thing happens in the Nations League, Yamal has 2 master classes, scores a bunch of hat tricks and everything, we wouldn't have the Club World Cup to recover with at the end. So Dembele at the moment, leading by far. If we also get the Club World Cup and he performs well, I mean, it's going to be clear as daylight. But yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. That's been it from my boy PS Gent. And as usual, allez, allez, allez Paris.